All right, well, good evening, everyone. Good to see you all here. This is our ED report for the, I guess, the last one for this fiscal year, last one that Anders will be here with us. Here's an overview of what we're going to look at tonight. We're going to have some summertime thank yous to Dr. Lewis, our beloved executive director, teachers, counselors, staff. For those of you who are departing, and glad to hear that Chris is going to stay with us for a little bit longer, we'll do our little razzle-dazzle time. We're going to talk a little bit about this school counseling grant that we received recently, a little update on community outreach and on the annual campaign, and then we're going to talk about our focus for the 2019-2020 school year and our vision for that for next year. Okay, so first we have our summertime thank yous. And I do want to say that we would not be where we are today without Dr. Lewis. And also to let you know that he'll be teaching 2 sections of AP US History next year and 2 sections of the elective Hate the Dark Side of American History. Very excited about seeing the curriculum. A lot of hate going on. And that he will continue as the executive advisor, AKA the EA. But I also wanted to take a second and share with you something that I read during my remarks at graduation, because many of you weren't here. And I think it's important for all of us to kind of reflect on what has transpired over the last 2.5 years, and to thank you and to thank Dr. Lewis. So this is what I read at graduation, a piece of it. So nearly 2.5 years ago, AMSA's Board of Trustees made a very important decision that would change the trajectory of our school. This decision would effectively end the turbulent times of the past and open up new opportunities for growth in our community. Their decision was risky, and there was no guarantee that it would be successful, but they took the risk, and they asked Dr. Lewis to be AMSA's executive director, and I would like to thank them one more time for making that decision. So thank you all who were involved in that. But that decision had a tremendous impact on Dr. Lewis's life. He made a huge personal sacrifice to leave the classroom and to lead our school. We all know that he's a teacher down to his very core of his being, and so, back to the classroom he must go. But what Dr. Lewis might not realize is that while he's been the executive director of AMSA, he's been teaching all of us in the biggest classroom of his career. We have all been his students as he taught us how to build a community of trust, respect, and collaboration. He taught us how to laugh again, find joy in our classrooms and in our offices, and how to stand strong and how to fight for what's right. He taught us how to kia kaha, and he taught me who I am. Dr. Lewis, on behalf of the entire AMSA community, we thank you for your service. We couldn't appreciate or love you more.
Thank you. If I could only make all you Yankee fans.
That's never going to happen, but couldn't appreciate you more, Dr. Lewis. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything. Okay, we also want to appreciate and thank our wonderful teachers, counselors, our staff, and our administrators, and in particular, the team that I work so closely with each and every day. We have wonderful educators here at AMSA. We've all acknowledged that time and time again. They're passionate, brilliant people. And they love our kids, and they're such wonderful teachers. They've devoted their whole lives to educating some of your children and all the children here who belong in our community. We also have wonderful counselors who dedicate so many of their hours to making sure that our kids are emotionally safe. To our staff members, people like Eric Lane, who make sure that our roads are clear and the snow and the ice. He's out there doing the work himself and making sure these buildings are running, and believe me, that's no small task on his behalf. And I am grateful every single day, every moment of every day, for the team of people that I get to work most closely with, namely Mike Naraki, Brianna Murphy, Dr. Lewis by my side for the last 2.5 years, the deans of students that I've worked with. It's been an amazing experience, and we had a great year together. We also want to acknowledge that we do have some board members that are moving on this month. This is their last month with us. Great surprise tonight to hear that Chris is staying with us for a few more months. He has been an invaluable member of the board, and I respect him greatly and appreciate his service for sure. These are the dates that folks came on. Pauline has been serving on our board since June 14th, 2012. Chris, since November 21st, 2013. I think that means you should stay till November, just to round that out. Rick Kamal has served since April 17, 2014. Ev, thank you so much for everything you've done for us. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're a real gentleman. Thank you. Has served on our board since November 20th, 2014. And Lucy, who isn't here, but who I had the opportunity to go to Starbucks with just last week, since October 27, 2016. So our deepest thank you, gratitude to all of you for the work that you've done on our board. We wouldn't run without you, so thank you. We have just a little bit of a remembrance for you. So thank you very much. And Sarah Snow has a little something for those of you who aren't here, but will be watching this. You'll get it in the mail.
Thank you.
Okay, so a little bit of razzle-dazzle time before we get into more serious stuff. All right, so this is a little snippet from our graduation. Thought we'd share with you for those of you who weren't there. All right, this is 8th grade step-up night.
This has been a terrific year of learning for me, and for that, I can't thank you enough. I was your teacher this year, but wow, without you knowing, you were my teacher.
So let's go on to the next slide. All right, so we have some school counseling news. So if you guys wouldn't mind keep working on that, see if we can get it done for Synovium, that would be, the Synovium video is really the most important one. School counseling news, it was so the Department of Education put out an openings for grants, and this was for mental and behavioral health services. And they didn't have a very big window. Kate Driver worked on this for hours and hours and hours, did a beautiful job on it, and as I said, it was a very competitive grant throughout the state, and we received one of those grants for $110,000. Some of it was used a little bit, like 10 or 11,000 this year, and the rest we'll get next year. Now these are restricted grants, which means they can only be used for the actual items that Kate applied as part of the grant. But we will have assistance for families to get counseling referrals. There's PD involved, especially around working with students that are in high-performing, high-stress schools like AMSA. It will give us some money to have a part-time clinician come in 1 day a week and work with some of our students most at risk. Also some technology. There's extra money in there for another Chrome card that will be used exclusively for school counseling. And speakers to come in, like we've had the anxiety speakers and a couple others. There's some money in there for them to get involved, having some more speakers come in. So that was very, very exciting. So community outreach update. The annual campaign this year, we are under what we were hoping. Anders and I did a video last week that did help bring in another $2,000 or $3,000. But right now, our goal was $40,000, and we're up to $34,130. But we are into the summer. Of the 738 families that we have here at AMSA, 169 participated. So I think there's still some work that we can do around the annual campaign. We didn't quite hit our goal this year. A couple other community outreach things have happened that were kind of exciting through the Marlboro STEM Council, which was started with Mark Vital. They put together an M20 summit, and what that was 6 students from each school, AMSA, Marlboro High School, and Assabet, got together. They spent part of the day in Marlboro, at Marlboro High, part of the day at Assabet. They used our buses, and they worked on a space habitation project. This was on the 30th of May. I read all the feedback from the kids that they had, and they really enjoyed their time together, learning from and getting to know people from the other schools and finding out what people's strengths were. So that it was, and they all enjoyed it. The main feedback was, can we please do it for 2 days next year instead of just 1, because they didn't feel they had enough time. Quest Diagnostics across the street here has invited our students over for tours. We've done some tours with them. They want to continue and to expand that. It was very exciting for the kids to actually go into labs and see what's really there and the updated equipment, and they were great to the kids. Synovium, we've done a lot of work with Synovium this year. You've heard all about our students that got the $2,500 scholarships and the time that they spent with the scientists over Synovium. And then our kids came back here and they taught our 7th graders. So I told you about that. Well, Synovium put together this video here that they blasted all out through their own media.
Is your logged in with your...
Switch accounts to mine, Anders. And so it got picked up. So this video, which is beautifully done by Synovium Public Relations, was picked up by that list there on the right of different. So if you put in your, well, I guess you could do this. We can't get the video up. Very disappointing. But if you put in, if you search Synovium AMSA, you'll be able to come up with the press release that was put out and this video that was professionally made. Mike Naraki is featured in there, Mark Vital's in there, and all our kids. It's a beautiful example of what we can do when we work with companies. So it's Synovium, Sunovion, and AMSA partnership.
First of all, just want to say congratulations to AMSA. Having worked with these young ladies over the past quarter, I can easily see why the high school is ranked as high as it is.
This opportunity, it's a beautiful one for AMSA. I want to keep this going. AMSA wants to keep this partnership going. Let's keep this alive. It's all about the students.
The coolest thing, and maybe the most important thing, is that some of the scientists from Synovium inspired our seniors, and our seniors inspired our 7th graders. So hopefully there's a whole generation of scientists that are being developed just because of this project.
It's been very rewarding for the Synovium team to work with the students and especially to give back and teach them about certain aspects of science.
Working with Synovium helped spark an interest in neuroscience that I had before, but I didn't think was as serious until we got to work with them.
And it was a great experience to practice teaching and presenting in front of people.
They asked a lot of really great questions and they got super into it in the lessons, and some of the questions did kind of surprise us a little bit.
They picked it up pretty quickly and everything, so I was kind of happy to see them actually get excited about neuroscience as much as I do and like the rest of us.
This project is an opportunity for our high school seniors to learn from some of the best scientists here in the greater Marlboro area.
The world needs more scientists. I hope that you take those lessons and that really solid training that you've received and really go and build on it, whatever your next step is.
Great, okay. So this was an opportunity that I had. It was kind of exciting. This was put together by Rob Schlackler, who is the president and CEO of the Marlboro Chamber of Commerce. And what his idea was to bring the 3 superintendents together. That's Mike Bergeron on the left, that's me on the right, obviously, and Ernie wasn't able, Ernie Houle, who's the superintendent of Assabet, wasn't able to join us that day. But Mike and I got to spend the morning together at a new museum, the the American Heritage Museum that's in Hudson. It just opened up May 3rd. Our history department then went down and spent a half a day there in June. It's absolutely amazing. They have, I can't even tell you, all the tanks that they have there. There's a whole story behind it I can tell you later if you're interested. But this was a wonderful community, outreach with the Chamber of Commerce, and to be able to spend the day with Mike Bergeron was priceless. And the gentleman in the middle, he's the director of marketing there at the museum. His name is Hunter Cheney, and Hunter has gone out of his way to really welcome us to be able, and it didn't cost the school anything to send all our history department down there for a half a day. They had a room that they allowed us to use for the teachers to meet, so it was a fabulous collaborative event. Okay, so talking a little bit about ED Vision for 2019-2020. We spent a lot of time thinking about what we want to look at in the year ahead. And so we want to, continue to talk about the fact that we as an administration are committed to educating all students, all backgrounds, all abilities, and helping to excel in all subjects, right? There's a shortened version of our mission, but the idea is that doesn't change. That is the foundation and core of who we are, is our mission, and we are dedicated to upholding that. And also adding in our core values. So that's always going to be integrity, excellence, and community. It's always going to be who we are and what helps us to make our decisions going forward. Our goal number one for the next year is to continue to build that trust that we've been working on so much over the last 2.5 years, and that we continue to build these relationships that are based on respect. And building those relationships of trust in a collaborative way, with our solutions coming from the bottom up, and when we have things that come up in the community, that we come together. We have plans for our August PD already. In fact, our August PD is already planned out already. We spent the last couple days on it, and we have a couple things that we're going to be working with the teachers and getting their feedback on. So that work is already in process. And also more transparency. I think there's some things that we can't, talk about with the building and things like that, but to continue to update our staff on things that are going on and being transparent, especially when it comes to like topics like the budget, I think is very important, and continue to improve our communication. The next goal, number 2, is around excellence, and in the area of academic excellence, because we want to, bring our level of performance up in all areas. The first one that we're going to talk about is academic excellence, and that's continuing to pursue, that strong curriculum, challenging classes with high expectations, and also offering our teachers enriching PD. That will continue as we go forward. And also continuing to pursue excellence in evidence through our strong AP scores and our MCAS scores. And then also continuing to emphasize, and we talked about this too we have a few new staff members coming in August, and what are some of the things we want to focus on with them? And that is to educate everyone around what the role is of our department chairs. We've talked a lot about that. Our department chairs run and drive our curriculum. They create curriculum, they write curriculum, they are our academic experts, and that role will continue. It's a very key part of what makes AMSA a very special place. And then we're going to continue our Academic Excellence Committee. It was very successful this year. We had 27 people participate. All of them said, yes, please, let's do it another year. This may be a committee that we keep forever. It's become a very important part of who we are. But I also want to add in an integrity committee, and this actually came out with a conversation that I had with a teacher this year. I met with almost all of our staff members individually this spring, anywhere from 15-minute conversations to 45-minute conversations. This was a suggestion made by a teacher. We want to talk about integrity in each one of the core values. Let's put a committee together with integrity, and let's find out, what does integrity mean to us? How do we really instill it into the community and make it part of the very fabric of AMSA? And I think, integrity is something that we toss around, and what does it mean? Well, there's integrity in all areas. There's academic integrity, but there's also who we are as people and how we live our lives. And so we're going to put that committee together, much like the Excellence Committee, meet together monthly, and find out, what does integrity mean to AMSA? And then the year after that, we're going to do the same thing with community. Community is a little bit easier. We have a better idea of what that means, but let's really kind of tighten it up and figure out, you know, what that means for all of us. And then, of course, we've got the Diderot Society. We've been talking about that, and that has launched, and it's really going to take off in the fall. They voted on their officers and their Knights of the Round Table, so that's going to be awesome. The next one on excellence, this is around professional excellence for those adults in the community. We want to continue to talk about our daily routines, the consistency in the classroom and outside the classroom. You know, things like attendance and uniform, and are we all approaching those things in the same way? And the clarification around the expectations of behavior in the classroom. So just tightening all those types of things up and just raising the bar for everyone in our community. Also, we want to, one of the things we really focused on this year was classroom attendance. And that may seem like a small thing, but it's really important to know where every single student is during the day, right? There could be a fire drill, something could happen. We need to know where our kids are. And we really tightened that up, and the teachers really rose to the occasion on that. And we were able, by the end of the year, midway through the year even, to really make that part of their everyday routine. We want to do the same thing with communication protocol, and for that, a lot of that is around plus portals. It's a challenge we've had all along, but we're going to take that one thing, we're going to focus on it, just like we did with attendance. We got attendance under control, we focused on that one thing, and this is what we're going to do this year. It's going to be around the plus portals, getting those things updated, and getting grade books updated. And we're going to continue to support our ELL learners, kids, students who are on plans for 504 and IEP plans, and continue to support them in what they need to be successful. Okay, communication. Communication is key. You'll see in the survey that the communication percentages actually look good. We're very happy with those, but we want to continue with that. And we talked about collaboration and transparency. But the communication is key. It goes hand in hand with building trust. And so we're going to be committed, obviously, to continue with the family forums, with the community council. We'll be getting new members for next year. And also, I want to add in ED roundtables for the staff. So once a month, I'm going to be in, it will be the fourth Thursday of the month. I'm going to be in the conference room downstairs, and anyone can come at any time and ask me any questions, any updates that I have. I will be available to give them that information. And I'm hoping that people will come and will want to talk, but I want to make myself available for the staff. Also, continue with our open door policy. As I mentioned, one of the things I did do this year since March 1st was to set up opportunities to meet with all of the teachers. I met with most of them. I promised I wouldn't keep track, but I would say there was one 3-day period I met with 21 different teachers. And so it was wonderful. They came and we talked about their pets, and we talked about things in the classroom, and it was a huge range. A wonderful education for me, and an opportunity for them to get to know me and for me to get to know them on a completely different level. And then we started work yesterday. We had someone that came in and did PD with us around cultural diversity, celebrating our differences. We've talked about this a lot, but we need to continue our conversation around cultural competencies and how we are celebrating the differences in our community. And so we're going to start that work. As I said, had a speaker come in yesterday, just PD with the admin, and then they're going to come again in August and work with all our teachers. Okay, so here to sum it all up, here's our little summary screen. We are going to continue to fulfill our mission. We're going to model our core values, and we will meet our goals. We're going to create a community of trust, collaboration, and learning, and every student will be challenged and supported, and no kid will fall through the cracks at AMSA. Have a great summer, and go Eagles.